Hello everybody. So today we're going to do something a little different. We are going to be making some smudge sticks out of some different herbs that I pulled out of the garden recently. I think we're going to be doing 3 separate kinds. One is going to be let me move this down so you guys can see what we got going on here. Okay. So we're going to be working with, over here is sage, we have basil, lavender, some rosemary, and then over here we've got some mint and some thyme and some roses. You want to use fresh herbs for this, mainly because if you're using herbs that are already dry, as you try to wrap it into bundles, it's going to crumble everywhere, and that's just going to be a disaster. So the mint that I have is a little wilty. That's because it's been on the drying rack for a couple days. I didn't just pull it off, but it's not crunchy or anything yet, so it's going to work just fine for this. And these I pulled out of the garden yesterday, but I like washing my herbs before I use them. So I did hang them last night and let them kind of drip dry before, wrapping them up today, because I'm always scared that if they're too wet when you bundle them, that they're just gonna mold. So the first one that we're gonna work with is a rosemary lavender, or lavender rosemary smudge. Now this is going to be a great one for purification, protection. It promotes, love and peace, happiness, good health. This is a combination that I also make in our smudge spray for people who have asthma or birds. And you can't, smell this or, burn things in your home. We offer a mist, a spray in the shop. And this has always been a popular one. So what I'm going to do here is I'm tying this down towards the bottom. And when you do this, you're going to want these to be very tight. Because as these herbs dry, they are... hang on, let me get my string over here. As these herbs dry, it's going to shrink. And if you don't have this string tight enough on these, the herbs are just going to all fall out of your bundle. So I am making this tight. Tie it at the end, and we're going to wrap up. And then that's as far up as I'm going to go, because see, I'm with the thick part, this is just dangling stuff, and I could have folded that down to wrap it in there too, but I could go ahead and fold that down. There. Okay, now I'm going to continue wrapping, and go right back down it. And this time I'm kind of wrapping a few more times around, because it's already bundled and I ain't got to hold it together. It's just... Okay. Cut that off. And I have this little tail that I left from when I first started my knot. I'm going to tie a string. And please excuse my awfully manicured fingers. I try to paint my nails, but I'm in the garden so much that I destroy any paint job I do on them quickly. Okay. And there you have it. This is the lavender rosemary smudge stick. And what I'll do is just kind of trim these up so we've got some crazy loose strings hanging. And that'll be hung on my drying rack to dry really well. So I'm going to set that off to the side. And the next one we'll do is going to be, it's going to be basically the same type of thing. It's going to be protection and for purification. And this one promotes love, but it's a kind of a different scent if maybe you don't like or you're allergic to the rosemary. This one is going to be basil, sage, and lavender. So here we have some more lavender. We're going to add some basil to this. There. And we have sage. And you know, even if you're not allergic, some people just, for anything that's for purification or protection, some people just want to have the sage in there. And you can always experiment with these and do them with different herbs. Okay. And you can make that, you know, bigger sticks, longer sticks. You know, it just kind of depends on the amount of, I just cut that off and I shouldn't have. That just kind of depends on the size of the herbs, plants that you have or can get a hold of. I grow all of my own herbs, and this is just how big my plants are. So this is the size that I'm able to make. I know sometimes at the store you can get some, you know, really long pieces of lavender, but mine are newer plants, so they're only a few years old, and I trim them a lot. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this. Okay. I also kind of like, you know, keeping them fairly thin like this because I'm just scared of them, like I said earlier, with making sure they're dry enough, not soaking wet if you're washing them. I'm just really scared of them molding, rather, when they dry, and not knowing it. And I'm allergic to mold, and so definitely don't want to deal with that. This string is getting all in my way. Okay. Alright, I think that's tight good enough. Come back. There it is. These smell so good when they're being burned. Okay. And there you have, is that the basil, sage, and the lavender. The last one, the last one that we are going to do, this one is going to be, okay, this is going to be using the mint, which I warned you guys was a little bit wilty because, like I said, it's been on my drying rack a few days. We're going to use that, and then this thyme that I cut off and harvested yesterday. I'm hoping this ties up well because there is some smaller pieces. I think this is going to make a larger bundle. So peppermint and thyme together, you know, good for protection, for purification, psychic awareness, courage, you know, promotes those. With the mints, you know, you can use spearmint and peppermint kind of interchangeably. They're both in the mint family. Here we're using the peppermint. Now, after these dry, I've done some of these. All right, I'm going to try to get this on the right side this time. I done a few of these bundles a few weeks ago, and so those are going to go on the Cinnamon Charm page. I believe that those are, what were those bundles? Rosemary, or was it rosemary, lavender, rose, sage was in some of them. Anyway, I'll have to look, but those are going to go in the Cinnamon Charmed shop this week, so you can keep an eye out for them. And these that I'm doing right now will also go in the shop here soon, as soon as they dry out, which I would give them at least a week. Sometimes, you know, I like to leave them hanging a little bit longer than that, just to make sure, especially like this one's going to be a little bit thicker than those two. So it's not going to hurt anything to let it hang just a little bit longer. Anyway, so keep an eye out for them in the shop. And I've got more of both of these, so there'll be more than one available. Okay, I really tied this one well because, like I say, that time had some loose ends, and I didn't want it just falling out. I mean, you don't want to use too much string if you don't absolutely have to, because it's cotton and, you know, you are burning it. But when you have herbs that are some smaller pieces, you know, you're not going to want those falling out all over as you're burning them. So it's just easier to go ahead and use a little bit more string. So here we have the mint and the thyme. And this is how you do smudge sticks. Like I say, you can experiment with them. I didn't end up using the roses in anything. And on the video, I do have them in some of my other smudging sticks, but you would just lay those petals in there. And you can use all different kinds of herbs for that. So you can make your own, or like I said, these will be available in our shop. So come check us out on the blog or in the shop, www.cinnamoncharm.com. Thank you.